of the most commonly used beans when developing a RESTful web service are localization and Swagger. Localization allows us to translate messages from one language to another by passing accept language header in the request, while Swagger helps us in documenting our REST APIs with the use of annotations. Let's see them in action. First, add the dependency on Maven form file. Here we are using version 2.9.2 of Swagger and Swagger UI. Create the localization and Swagger configuration. Don't forget to annotate the classes with @configuration so that Spring will pick them up. Then, create the category controller for testing. Notice that we use Swagger classes to annotate the endpoint and the method, API, and API operation. The REST controller and REST request mapping annotation here tells Spring that this class is a REST API. Let's run the application. And again, open port 8080. So this is the auto-generated Swagger API documentation. We have operation handler and web-MVC here because earlier we set the endpoints that include to *, so it shows all the endpoints. But for this exercise, we are just concerned with the catalog. Then the hello method. So let's try it out. Hit execute. And then we got a hello response body. And this comes from the messages.property. So if we will look at the method, so it returns this key from the default message file, which is this. Now to test another language, first we need to create a messages properties for that language. In this case, we are using Japanese. So JA is a 2-letter country code. So we have here hello equals konnichiwa. And then to test this, we will need a third-party tool for testing REST API, which is Postman. Here, if we send a request without the accept language, it will use the default, which is English. The default, remember, is set in our Swagger config, in our localization config, which is local US. If we enable the accept language and set its value to EN, so again it will still use the messages.properties file. But if we want to use another property file, another language, in this case JA, and let's hit send. Now we have konnichiwa. So that's how localization and the Swagger bean helps us in creating or documenting a RESTful web service.